There's some seats here. There's some seats here. I said there's some seats here. Welcome everyone. Despite the wonderful weather outside, you decided to come here to sit quietly. That's really inspiring. Wonderful. And tonight I want to explore with you one of the really, maybe the most important ingredient of mindfulness practice, and that is called equanimity. So I'm going to talk a bit and then kind of describing equanimity and making you interested. And then we will slide into quietly sitting and exploring the experience of equanimity. So the word equanimity is has Latin roots, and it's coming from two words. And first one is equus, which means balanced. And then there's animus, which here means internal state or spirit. So equanimity is a balanced internal state, a balanced, easy way of going with the internal flow of your experience. And it is balanced. You know, if something is balanced, you always have the two poles where you lose the balance. And with equanimity, on the one side, which disturbs the balance, is suppression. So that's relating to internal states, to your feelings and to the sensations and to the sounds, with tightening around it, trying to control it, trying to suppress, trying to get away from it, trying to deny. So while we are sitting here, you might become aware of that there's a lot of tension in your body, in your shoulders, in your belly. And this tension comes from a lack of equanimity towards your experience. So that's on the one side. And on the other side is identification. And identification is when you fixate to your experience in an inappropriate way, if you make it more solid, more serious, more real than it is. So you don't allow the feeling, the thought, or the sensation to follow its natural flow, but you fixate it, you identify with it. So that's the two extremes, and equanimity is the balanced state between those two. It is very much connected with the fundamental Buddhist teachings that we co-create the suffering which we experience day by day through resistance. So it's not so much what happens in your life, it's that you resist what is happening, and that resistance, the resistance to the pain, that's the suffering. So equanimity opens the space for the natural peace, the natural stillness of this moment to come forth and to find a place of rest in the midst of the catastrophe of your life, in the midst of the mess of your life. Equanimity is not indifference, so that is very important. It's not indifference and apathy. And it's not passivity. So to the opposite, if you are not in your own way, if you don't waste so much energy with struggling with yourself, you have actually much more energy to do what needs to be done. You actually have more energy to change what can be changed on the outside. And it's not apathy, because part of mindfulness training is to cultivate a certain alertness, a certain awakeness, a presence. So that's why we sit with an open chest and with some dignity and a healthy sense of pride. So it's nothing apathic about it, or there's no resignation in it. It's more an intimate, you become more intimate with your experience because you can afford it. You're not so threatened by it anymore. You discover, wow, there's space for this to happen. For the fear, for the sadness, for the exhaustion, for whatever. But also equanimity helps us so much to be more balanced and easygoing with joy. Because not only we struggle with the challenges, we also struggle to have a really deep connection with the joy in our life, with passion, with sexual energy, with beauty, with being silly. So equanimity is not only a state of mind which gives you more freedom to experience the challenging areas of your internal world, but it also gives you the freedom to enjoy more and to receive more satisfaction from the enjoyments of daily life, instead of being tied or afraid or clinging to the enjoyments. So there's two ways to cultivate equanimity. And these two ways are happening on the Tuesdays. I mean, in a way you can say somehow these Tuesdays are actually about equanimity. There's a bit more to it, but that's really one of the things I try to share here on Tuesday evenings, to create a space where equanimity can be discovered. So there's two ways to create equanimity, and one is to intentionally create equanimity. And the way you do that is, non-equanimity comes with a tension in your body. Resistance comes with a tension in your body. Struggle comes with a tension in your body. So if you want to intentionally create equanimity, you need to become more tuned into your body. You need to notice what is happening in the body. And then when you notice the shoulders tense, the belly is tense, there's tension around the heart, there's struggle with your experience and it expresses itself through the body, and you kind of, you as best as you can, you relax that, and you can use the breath for doing that. You can breathe into the tension, soften the tension as best as possible, accepting that which is not possible. So here, the importance of bringing our awareness firmly back into the body. Awakening happens in the body. It's not something that happens up here somewhere. It's here and here. So the other place where you can start intentionally to work with equanimity is to become aware of your internal dialogue. Because it's the internal dialogue which is part of, which creates some of the tension in our body. So the internal dialogue of, oh, it shouldn't be like this, it should be different, I wish it would be like this, expectations, all the shit judgments towards ourselves. Yeah, all that is not equanimity. So by sitting here, we become aware more. How do we talk to ourselves? With what kind of voice? And we have a certain, maybe not so much, but we have some degree of control of that. And it's not, intentionally in creating equanimity is a long process. But we have a certain, when you become aware of the inner judge, so there is a certain possibility to let it be, not to take it serious, and as best as you can to replace it with positive internal talk. And some of the positive internal talk I try to kind of share with you. So the things I say, like allow this moment to be, soften to your experience, letting go of control. So sometimes people hope at one point I will shut up, but that's how I lead meditation. I continue to talk. but the purpose of that is kind of to give you at least one word or one sentence which speaks to you. And it speaks to you when you feel that, and it could be one word like space, or like be like the sky, like all these images or words, relax, it's good enough. Relax, it's good enough. And some of these instructions, they might talk to you. And you know that they talk to you if you feel it like in your body. Yeah. So some softening happens. Some acceptance happens. And then you take that word or that sentence with you. And then you might notice yourself when you sit down at home in your own practice that you hear me. I mean, maybe not in my voice, but you use these instructions, which you also receive from other teachers, to guide yourself in intentionally creating equanimity. So that's the first way to create equanimity, and it kind of works. But the more, for most people, the more, for most people, equanimity is cultivated by becoming aware of the moments when you drop into equanimity by itself, not intentionally. It just happens. And you actually don't exactly know how you're doing it, but you just feel good. You just feel more free. You just, you step into a place, like into a church or into a place in nature, or you meet a person who is sharing that space with you, and something happens in you. And it's like you resonate with that. And there's space, and it's like there's more space. There's more space for you. And something which was heavy, intense, just the moment before, it's just gone. Or at least it lightens up. And that can be music, that can be art, that can be a YouTube clip, it can be coming here and sitting down, and it can be sitting in a group, and so it's not, you don't have a plan. You just bring your body here and you set it down. That's all you need to do, and then you just wait until it happens. So and it happens. It kind of sneaks upon you. It's just like, suddenly you feel you're being meditated by the group, by the presence of the surroundings, by the stillness in the room, or nature is a good help there. So and then you become aware of that, and you soak it in, and you kind of condition your body-mind system. And then, of course, this system, the body-mind system, wants to go back there, because it's just, much better to be easygoing than to be tense and struggling. So it happens more and more often. So we can play with both. So the problem with if you want to if you want to create equanimity intentionally, it might add to the struggle, because not only you are then unhappy with your experience, you're also unhappy with being not equanimous with it. So that's like you don't accept that you can't accept. So you have a double problem. You not only have the problem, you have something on top. So that's why it's important to if that happens, that you kind of that you practice equanimity with not being equanimous. So that you practice acceptance with not being accepting. Like it's a meta-ebene, a meta level. And for some people, they are very open to the second approach of kind of dropping in equanimity into equanimity if they meet certain situations or places, or what is called power places in nature, or certain teacher or certain instructions or certain places. So, and if you notice that, then all you need to do is to bring yourself into that field. So all you need to do then on a daily basis is to connect with that space and just let go. And then the other is the intentionally to work with, to become aware of the tension in your body, softening, opening, and to become aware of the internal dialogue. And as best as you can, replacing a harmful, negative internal dialogue with some more kindness. Even a change of voice makes a difference. So why would you want to cultivate equanimity? First, of course, it's really reducing suffering immensely. It's accepting the pain in your life, really accepting it, making the space for it, but reducing the suffering through that. And the other is, so if your longing is to connect with, if your longing is to rest in and connect with who you really are, to recognize and to rest in your natural state, into the truth of this moment, into the natural peace of this moment. So in order for that to happen, one of the ways you disconnect from that is through struggling and judging and trying to fix and control your experience. So it's equanimity which opens the space so that the truth of your nature can shine through. So the equanimity creates the space so that your heart can shine through. Equanimity creates the space so that you realize we are connected. So equanimity creates the space so that you can realize that you're actually an open system and not disconnected, not separate. So it creates a space to look through the illusion of separateness. So let's do it. Quite some pressure there. And so I think when you slide into like a period of sitting quietly, it's really helpful to have a sense of sliding into, so that there is not this one point where you, and so now the meditation starts, but it's more a slowing down. So you slow down a bit, and you adjust your posture, and if you like, you can close your eyes. Initially, that might be a bit easier, and then later we can also sit with open eyes. So there is like a kind of shifting gear, and it happens in your own pace, so there is no rush. And equanimity is something you discover. So you allow it to happen. And your awareness shifts from the thoughts and the inner dialogue to the belly, to the root, to the trunk of your body. And there's a sense of meeting a friend, meeting yourself. And the breath can support you in that gesture by breathing into the belly, breathing into the trunk of your body, the root of your body. And of course, there are thoughts and mental images, there are sounds. And what we explore is what happens if you just give space, if you let this moment be what it is. The Buddha called this meditating like the sky. softening and opening. And then we can appreciate how quickly there is a stillness coming in. There's some peace coming in. Opening to the shared presence. And that peace makes your body even more soft. Your belly. And you discover that there is space for your own energy, just as it is. And the breath carries the friendliness and the non-violence into the body. And could you allow yourself to be who you are just now? So that the stillness which is in the background can shine through. The loving presence which is in the background can shine through, bathing your whole body from the toes to the top of your head. And just resting, just being yourself. And then when you notice that you are carried away, so that is identification, you are carried away by storylines and judgments. And then gently you return to the present moment by connecting with your body and your breath. And more important, by again relaxing into the primordial stillness, the natural peace of this moment. And the background presence. And then when you notice that you start to fix or control or try to get rid of an experience or change it, as best as you can, you drop that. Instead, relaxing into a yes. Yes, this is how it is. This is how I feel. This is what is happening. Yes. Yes, this too. And softening and breathing loving kindness where there's tension. Actually, in a way, you can say equanimity is another word for love. So it's a heart space. It also helps to fall asleep. Yeah, it's true. So being aware of where your body is soft and open, and resting in that. Making it maybe a bit bigger, and softening where there's tension, accepting when it's not happening. All senses are open. Could you allow yourself to find a place of rest, just in the midst of your experience? Listening to the stillness, not only with your ears. Diving into the vastness of this moment. in some traditions, like in the Thai forest tradition, one method being used in that tradition is to put the meditator under so much pressure, under so much pain, that at one point there is no choice than dropping into equanimity, because it's unbearable. The food is unbearable, the climate is unbearable. To sit on the concrete floor without a cushion is unbearable. To sleep only 2-3 hours a night is unbearable. So it's, and maybe that method speaks to you. I mean, there's this kind of people. Of course, some people get like shocked by it, but some people light up. They start to light up. Yeah, wow, that's it. I'm going there. I'm sitting there on the concrete floor, and but then there's the other way, so kind of the opposite, and that is to actually remove the pressure, like to create a pressure-free space, like what we try to cultivate here, like a space where you feel welcomed with everything. Like, or if you go to the beach and you sit down and you look into the ocean. So that's the opposite. It's like removing pressure. So the one is like putting pressure on you, so that it's unbearable, and then something needs to shift in you. Sometimes people with chronic pain, they don't have any other option after they have tried everything. So it's and then there's the only option is to have some more peace, is to drop into equanimity. In sometimes I saw it happening with noise in retreats. Sometimes we hire this building crew doing retreat, which just during the retreat they start to build outside of the window, and then so people come there and they have this idea sitting in nature and being quiet, and then after half an hour the building crew starts. Or the cooking crew, or whatever. And and then of course people resist and they struggle and they complain and what can we do, and so on and so on. But at one point, if they stay, so at one point what happens is that you discover, wow, the stress in this comes from me. And then you drop into equanimity. And you don't know exactly how it works, but the difference is like day and night. So just one moment before you are in hell, and then suddenly something shifts, and you're in the same noise, but you are in heaven. That's amazing. That's why Jesus could say heaven is now. He didn't say heaven is when you fix your problems and when you're the perfect person you want to be and have the perfect feelings. Then is heaven. No, he said heaven is now, in the mess of your life. within all the untied knots and all the projects and all the heaviness now. And an experience like that, of course, makes a huge difference, because then you, like this experience of dropping into a peace while there's the same noise, or dropping into the peace while there's the same pain, that makes such a big difference, because then you not only know, but you feel, or you have the experience. Wow, freedom is possible. If you think freedom is only possible once you have fixed your life, then that will never happen. Your life will never work out. Give it up. It will never work out. So then an experience like this can, wow, I don't need to. It's not in the future, heaven or freedom or however you want to call it. Because in the future I will also have problems. They will be different. They will be worse or less, or you don't know yet, but for sure there will be problems. For sure. There will be pain. There will be pain for the rest of your life. That's good news. There will be pain. It's childish to think there's a trick, or you just need to practice enough yoga, or find the right mantra, or I don't know what. There will be pain. That's what the Buddha said first when he started to teach. The first noble truth. So equanimity, the discovery of equanimity is based on that, on the acceptance of the first noble truth. There's pain. But the question is, how do you relate to pain? And one of the second kind of support of the discovery of equanimity is the discovery and the acceptance of the impermanent, the non-static, changing, flowing nature of our experience. That this too is passing. This too, just now, this whatever you experience in your life is passing. Whatever the problem is right now, it is passing. It's just changing moment by moment. It is passing. And if you have a good time right now, it's passing. And you don't need to do something for it in order to pass. It's in the nature of everything to pass. In the Dzogchen tradition of Tibetan Buddhism, it's called the self-liberating nature of your experience. Self-liberating means you don't need to do anything with your emotion or with your thought. It self-liberates itself if you give it space. And it takes longer if you try to fix it or control it. Okay. Let's have a break, and then after the break, if you have some questions or comments, there will be some space for that. So let's have 15 minutes break. So in the beginning, the emphasis is on adjusting the posture. So you take some time for finding a gentle and relaxed way to sit. With the back straight but not strained, so that the shoulders can relax and the belly can soften. And the head is balanced on top of the spine with the chin slightly tucked in. And it is a posture expressing kindness, friendliness, but also the commitment to give space, the commitment to stay with your experience, to stay, commitment to be here with whatever comes up. To the commitment to be loyal to who you are and to be loyal to your experience, to be loyal to your feelings. And then there's a sense of shifting gear from the thinking and doing to the being. And the breath can support you in that. It's like bathing your experience with the breath, welcoming, welcoming your own energy. And you give yourself the permission to do nothing. And then we can appreciate how quickly some peace comes in, some quiet comes in. So there's more a sense that you are being meditated by the field of presence which arises when we sit quietly together in the spirit of compassion. And you find yourself sliding into a place of more contentment. And thoughts come and go, mental images come and go. And that's fine, there's space for that. It's like the sounds. They also have their own life. Like your thoughts. Could you allow yourself to slide into a place of rest in the midst of your experience? So that the always present stillness can shine through. And then when you notice that you get carried away, so you emphasize a story more than the present moment, judgments more than what is actually happening. And by just noticing that, it's quite often enough to find yourself back here in reality, back here in this moment where you have everything you need, this moment where you can be complete by allowing this moment to be what it is. So you gravitate back to the breath, to the belly, and more importantly, back to the heart space which we share. the flow of your experience, the sensations, the breath, thoughts, sounds. Changing moment by moment. Allowing this flow to happen. So that which is not changing can shine through. Timeless, boundaryless presence. And gently you start to rest as that boundless, timeless presence. You rest as the space through which your life happens. And that space is non-judgmental. Therefore, you can say it's in the nature of love. And then towards the end of this sitting, I invite you to open to the presence of the city, to the presence of the places where you live and work, to the presence of your relationships. And sharing this stillness, sharing compassionate presence. Opening the space, or realizing that there's always this space. Is there any questions or comments? Yeah.
How purposeful is it to have an intention when you meditate?
How purposeful?
Yeah, compared to just being aware of what is.
Uh-huh. So, is your question how would that affect your practice?
Yeah.
Or what sense do you have of your own practice? Is there quite a purpose in it, or?
No, more like being still, just noticing.
Yeah.
Sensations.
Yeah.
Bodies.
Yeah.
I enjoy.
You enjoy that aspect of your practice. You enjoy, but there is some doubt that it is enough or the right thing.
Yeah, because if you want to change something in your life, is it a good idea to have an intention with what you focus on? And you focus in the meditation.
Yeah.
Like asking a question before you sit down.
Yeah. What is your sense?
I have had a dialogue sometimes when I walk on the beach. I try to use that as a meditation.
Yeah.
And asking questions about my life.
Yes,
and
right.
Saying that I'm open to an answer.
Yeah.
I don't often do that when I sit down to do meditation.
And how was that method for you to go to the beach and ask? That,
I was sometimes doubting the things that come. If it's like an inner dialogue or answers to my questions from someone else.
Yeah. It's difficult to say.
Yeah.
And so then you said now you don't know if that's something you can do in meditation?
Yeah, if it's like if it's purposeful or meaningful. Yeah. Or if it like disturbs the meditation.
Yeah. It's I think it's something you find out by yourself, by just doing and playing with it and being curious, and then finding your own style in it. Personally, I use both, and it might be in one session that I use both. It might be that I use I'm using methods like Tonglen, or that's a Tibetan method where you use the breath, and then so many methods which are more like, and I also use a method of creating a dialogue with images for my dreams. For example, I'm doing dream work also, or entering a dialogue with tensions in my body, or entering a dialogue with images which come up in meditation. And I found it very helpful. I think it's you can connect with your own wisdom by going into a dialogue with aspects of yourself. But I think my emphasis in like sitting is more the what you said, be still. And I think that approach can be brought into also the more intentional meditation, so that there is some intention, but it's not like you want to have a certain outcome, or you are like desperate or something. So it happens within quite an open and curious space. And yeah. Does that
yeah, it's an answer.
It's an kind of an answer. Yeah. It's good. Yeah. So also here on Tuesdays, I mean, I'm more sharing the practice of just sitting, but also occasionally we explore Tonglen or more directive. So if you would come for a year or something, you would get a kind of some overview about the Tibetan methods to work with the mind, not only the practice of just sitting. Any more questions? Yeah.
How do you deal with if while you're meditating you have a thought and it's something you feel you have to remember?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, like
yeah,
like lock this or do something. How do you not resist that, but also make sure you remember at the end?
Yeah. It is said that it's a possibility to, in meditation, sometimes to write down when some creative ideas come, but I never did that. Maybe I don't have creative ideas in my meditation. But I have a general easygoing attitude in terms of information and thoughts, because I feel like it will come when it's needed. So that same is true. I'm listening now since, I don't know, 30 years to teachings. I never wrote anything down. I never made notes. I have nothing to, read after, or there's nothing. And the reason for that is because something in me trusts that what's necessary will come in the right moment. So I guess that helps me also with these creative thoughts. So if I have an idea or so, then okay, it just goes, and then it will come. But it is definitely an acceptable method of writing it down. I've read it a few times by acknowledged meditation teachers. So there is people who do it, and maybe that would be a way for you. I don't like it when people write things down when we sit, like this. But then, of course, I don't like it. That doesn't mean that you have to obey. Yeah? Yes.
If you don't write down, for example, take notes, do you have a personal way of kind of seeing the kind of thread of the evolution of your meditation, or some kind of direction throughout your meditation? I guess like a kind of overview of how things are evolving. Because sometimes it's hard. I have a hard time sometimes having any perspective on how my meditation is evolving. And I don't know if you have any kind of.
Yeah, I think many people they really benefit from writing things down, and that helps them to reflect or see the patterns or the development. For me, what my development is to do less and less, and to understand that I don't know. I have more a sense. I have no clue what this is all about.
It's more towards like kind of simplification of like not.
Yeah, it's just like kind of. Yeah. So I come from what I call heavy duty spiritual practice. In the tradition where I'm trained, I was a monk for 11 years. In the Geluk tradition, it's really like, so the evolution is just more and more naked, and more. I mean, I can talk. It's like I can talk and talk and talk, but somehow I feel I'm talking about nothing. and of course, then of course some of the talk I do, it makes sense and it helps, and it is hopefully, otherwise why would people listen to it? But I know also it's temporary. I can teach a meditation and give the steps and so on and so on. But for me, it's a temporary map. And at one point, you need to realize it's the map, it's not the territory. And a map is always too simple. That's the purpose of a map. Otherwise, it's not a map anymore.
So basically, the kind of intellectual kind of analysis doesn't replace the experience anymore.
Yes, right. But
finally, there's a shortcut.
Yeah. But of course, it's part of the path, I guess, for most of us to have some intellectual map, and some orientation, some points, and yeah.
But I guess even having this map, even to kind of be able to kind of deconstruct it at some point also.
Yes, so that's like that's what happens in the Buddhist teachings. Like you start to you think your way out of thinking, kind of. So you deconstruct the map while you're learning it. But then still the map is beautiful, and there's nothing wrong. I love to go to teachers who are eloquent in talking about the map. I have a problem when they think it's the truth, but of course I can be tolerant with that. So, yeah, that's it. Thank you. I just wanted to take a few minutes to do some advertising at the end. And the first one is that, talking about maps, the maps of the Buddhist path. This weekend we have one of the foremost map makers coming as a visiting teacher. So this weekend it's Alex Burson. And he is one of the foremost scholars of Tibetan Buddhism and foremost translators also. He has been living in India from the early 70s, and he was closely trained by one of the important masters of Tibetan Buddhism, Serkong Rinpoche, one of the teachers of the Dalai Lama. And he has been also translating for His Holiness the Dalai Lama, and he lives in Berlin now since a few years. And he is actually like 20 years when I was in India. The first course I attended, a 10-day course, was taught by him. He is. I'm using his. He puts all his stuff onto his website for free. Like he wrote a few books, and he's like the last 10 years his main work is to put all this knowledge into this website, all the teaching, and it's all for free. So it's the whole map of Tibetan Buddhism is there available for free. It's an amazing resource. So he's coming, and he will talk about the really fundamental teaching on the Four Noble Truths. And I really recommend to kind of check it out. It's maybe not what you are initially attracted to, like a very intellectual, academic approach to these teachings, but I think it's worthwhile to at least have a taste of it. What is possible in terms of understanding and in terms of detail, and so if you have if you have some time this weekend, maybe you can just come on Friday, or drop in on Saturday or Sunday, so to just experience a scholarly approach to these teachings.
But isn't it next weekend? No. Not this weekend.
Yeah, it's 12.
Oh, okay.
30 minutes.
So then I have the wrong information. So then that doesn't matter. So next weekend. So you can check it on our website or on Facebook. And then another thing is I'm teaching Thursdays here, and this week I will teach on death. So if you want to know something about your death, then you can come on Thursday. Yeah? So there's a lot of wisdom in the Tibetan tradition about the process of death and how we can prepare to it, and also particular how we can then support others, because we are all going to sit by the bedside of a person we love. There's no way around it, and so then it makes such a difference to have some direction, some refuge, some tools, so that you can really be there for that person. So I'm going to. It's just an introduction talk. It's just one evening, but this will be on Thursday. And then the other thing is, I mentioned that I'm doing dream work with my partner, and on Monday we will start another course, and there's still some places open. So we are exploring how to use our dream world, like this whole territory, this whole universe of our dreams, of the nightly dreams, to support our spiritual practice as a way to start a dialogue with the unconscious, with the unknown, to start a dialogue with the unknown. And part of it is also, maybe you have heard or know about the practice of dream yoga, where you become aware of the fact that you're dreaming. So it's called lucid dreaming, and it's something we can all learn. I mean, it takes some discipline, like everything. It's not just happening like that, but definitely, we all can learn that. And probably as children, we could be that you have been a lucid dreamer. It's quite natural for many children. So this course is for those who are interested to become lucid dreamers, but also for people who want to work with their dreams, even if they don't become lucid, but they want to unpack the meaning of their dreams. Yeah. So you can start a dialogue with your dreams. The best would be to start the dialogue in the dream. So that would be the goal of becoming a lucid dreamer. But you can also start a dialogue with your dreams after you remember them, and there are methods to do that. So that's it. So I hope you enjoyed the evening and you take something with you. And if not, then you try somewhere else. and so maybe some of you come back next Tuesday. I think I will be here. Yeah, so I will be here. Be well and have a nice evening.
Namaste.